Hi, I'm Lydia.
And I'm Max.
And welcome to our show, Feel Good Food,
where we make snacks, treats, and meals
that taste good and make you feel good.
And today we're making a Yellowtail Crudo.
It's bright, it's vibrant, it's dense in protein, and I'm always trying to get my protein, and it's literally so good I'm obsessed with it. I love raw fish, and I'm also obsessed with fruit. Plum, I will admit, is my least favorite stone fruit, but it works so beautifully in this dish. So I think we should get started with the cucumber.
Let's do it.
The first thing we're gonna do is peel it. You guys should know is that I am not a professional cook. I do know how to peel a cucumber, but Max is a professional cook. So how about you show the people how it's done?
If you just hold it more at an angle, like parallel to the cucumber, it will help like pull it down.
I don't know if you guys can see the water droplets perspiring from this cuke, but that's beautiful.
It's hard to get really thin slices with a knife sometimes, and a mandolin just really helps replicate like a perfect slice every time.
The cucumber will literally look like ribbons.
So that's how you get like a really nice thin slice, and then obviously you can adjust to make it thicker or thinner.
Famously, I went to cookery school for 3 months in Ireland last year. I was going through a bit of a quarter-life crisis. But when I finished and I came back to New York, I saw that my favorite restaurant was hiring. And I emailed the head chef. I was like, would love to come in for a stage. And met Max at the stage.
I had a bit of a panic attack. Well, to be truthful, I knew who Lydia was before I met her.
Because I'm a content creator.
We're gonna put some salt onto the cucumbers. And then once they sit for a little bit and they start releasing some of that moisture, that's when you wanna add the vinegar, and that'll start to marinate them and really like give some acidity to these cucumbers.
Independently seasoning each component of the salad recipe, I feel like takes your salad from a 6.5 to that 9, 10 that we're all aspiring towards. 93% of my followers are women, so he was part of that really special, coveted 7%.
You know, I did something kind of shameful. I was subscribed, and then I met Lydia that day, and I decided that I should unsubscribe and resubscribe so that maybe she would notice me.
Unfortunately, I saw through the lie. Now is the moment for the plum. And one of my most favorite things to do with stone fruit is cut it like that, and sometimes you get a nice, oh baby, it's gonna happen. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Similarly to the cucumbers, we're gonna slice this plum really thinly. While Max cuts the plum, I'll carry on with the story. I didn't get the job. The day went terribly for me. Okay, everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong for me. I was so sad. I left. They told me, you're not hired. I'm like, no problem, I'm out. And then later that evening, I got a DM from Max. But I had blinders on. I was really trying to get this job. It was kind of devastating when I didn't. And getting this DM from him was surprising because I was really embarrassed about my performance that day. Max had done the unfollow follow, but unfortunately he left a trace because a year earlier he had slid into my DMs. It was a wholesome little message where I had gone on this 21-mile hike, not to flex, and he had responded to that stories I was posting about it, being like, whoa, this is amazing.
We're gonna marinate these with some lime and some chili and a little bit of olive oil. These are really spicy chilies, so you're gonna wanna cut them pretty thin.
If you're not into spice, you can lean away. You don't have to add the chilies, or you can lean into it. Eventually, Max and I do go on a first date, and dare I say it was spicy. No. We just started hanging out like every day.
Yeah.
But I would say like a big thing that we at first and have continued to talk a lot about is food. And we cook a lot together. So now we're cooking with you guys.
We interrupt this episode of Feel Good Food to bring you a message from our sponsor, Boursin cheese.
I have been a huge fan of Boursin ever since I was a little kid. It is the key ingredient to my favorite 4-ingredient sandwich recipe, which is Boursin cheese, strawberry jam, turkey slices, and bread. That's it. It is so simple and so delicious. You have to try it at home.
Boursin has been our go-to cheese for its creamy texture and rich flavor.
And we are always looking for ways to step up our cooking game, especially around the holidays. We're gonna be entertaining. Boursin is the perfect addition to any holiday recipe, whether it be a festive cheese board or a rich and creamy mac and cheese.
Make something extraordinary with Boursin cheese.
You can find our favorite, the garlic and fine herb flavor, plus many more at your local grocer or at boursin.com. This is a beautiful half a fillet of yellowtail. I thought yellowtail and yellowfin tuna were the same thing. Both are frequently used for sushi and sashimi, but yellowtail is different. Yellowfin tuna is like red. If you looked up pictures, you would see they look very different.
One thing is that having a wet knife is really nice for a fish, because if you have a wet knife, it'll help glide through the fish. We'll just come in at an angle a little bit, and that'll help bring the knife across the fish rather than like smushing it.
One of the things that I realized quickly about Max that really aligned with me is his love for like healthy food. I'm not saying that food that makes you feel good is exclusively like a salad.
But in this case, it's a crudo.
In this case, it is a crudo.
All right, so now we're gonna start plating, and that is the best part about it all.
I feel like you have a very like Max approach to plating all of your dishes when you cook for me, which is like everything's kind of flat. He's gonna do it here, so you guys will see.
One of the best parts about plating is making sure that your food is layered correctly and so that all the flavors in each bite taste the same. I'd say I used to pile a lot of my food a lot more when I was younger, kind of learning to cook, because I didn't realize, I guess, the elegance of plating. And I realized that there's no need to really pile your food too much. It's like nicer to have it spread out and flat, and then you can really get the flavors going in all the areas of the plate. One thing that really stuck with me in the restaurant was just the PJs, which are the precious juices or the remnants of whatever you're making or whatever you're marinating.
This is a PJ.
This is a PJ, not a private jet, but a precious juice. And that is going to, really give all of that flavor without adding extra cucumber. It's just those juices are really strong and flavorful.
Okay, let's do the garnish.
This is just an overgrown cilantro, which then has started to flower.
My food looking cute does make me feel good, so this is important to me, but it might not be important to you. And you know what?
It does look beautiful.
I do respect that. Yeah, it does look beautiful.
Getting a good amount of olive oil and then just seasoning with the right amount of salt is really important. So it really brings out all the flavors. So getting some of that extra salt in there is really important and really makes the dish pop.
You know, this dish has a lot of wiggle room because you may notice there's no actual cooking involved in the dish. It's literally assembly.
And I know crudos and raw fish can be really intimidating. Doesn't have to be perfect for it to taste good.
And now we're ready to chow. Again, I'm trying to get, in this bite, I want to get a little fish, I want a little plum. So good. Not only are the flavors sprightly, but I feel like it makes my energy sprightly. You know how sometimes you eat and you feel tired afterwards? This does the opposite. It gives you energy to carry on with your wonderful day.
It's got a zing.
It's got a zing.
Really pop, really fresh, and really good for you.
Yeah, so good for you. I think we crushed this.
Yeah, I think it's really beautiful and delicious.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us, guys. If you're interested in cooking this recipe, the link is in the description below. Like and subscribe, and join us soon for the next episode.